I can't speak. I can't hear. I am in mute mode, but I can still think, still remember. My daughter put me in this nursing home 3 years ago and sold my house, the house my husband built for us. She's never come back. My name is Reeta, and this silence is killing me. Please subscribe and like my 10 p.m. stories, one story every night. It truly helps these tales touch more hearts. Share where you're listening from in the comments. Seeing our growing family from around the world always brings me joy. Now, let the story unfold. My name is Reeta Malhotra, and I am 60 years old. But the woman I am now barely resembles the woman I was 4 years ago. That woman could laugh, could sing, could hear her husband whisper, "I love you," in the dark, could tell her daughter about her day, her dreams, and her fears. That woman died in a car accident on Highway 101. I survived. My husband Raj and I were driving home from our anniversary dinner, 32 years married. We'd splurged on the nice restaurant downtown, the one with the view of the harbor. Raj had ordered champagne. We'd talked about retirement, about finally taking that trip to India to see his family, about selling the big house now that Maya, our daughter, was settled in her own life. I remember the taste of champagne, the way Raj's hand felt warm in mine. The streetlights blur past the window. I don't remember the truck that ran the red light, don't remember the impact, the sound of metal screaming, or the way our car spun and flipped and came to rest upside down on the median. Don't remember Raj saying my name one final time before the silence swallowed everything. I woke up 3 weeks later in ICU. The doctor said I was lucky. Traumatic brain injury, they explained to Maya while I lay there, unable to respond. Damage to the temporal lobe, to the auditory cortex. They used words like bilateral hearing loss and acquired aphasia and communication disorder. What they meant was, your mother can't hear anymore. Can't speak. The pathways are destroyed. Irreversible. The first thing I tried to do when I understood what had happened was ask for Raj. I opened my mouth, felt my throat move, my tongue press against my teeth, but no sound came out. Nothing. Just air, hollow and meaningless. Maya's face told me everything. The way she looked away, the way her hand tightened on her husband Derek's arm, the way she wrote on a notepad, slowly, like I'd become a child. "Dad didn't make it. I'm so sorry." I screamed then, or tried to, opened my mouth and pushed every ounce of grief and rage and horror through my throat. But the world around me stayed silent. Nurses rushed in. I could see their mouths moving, see Maya crying, but I existed in a vacuum where sound used to live. That was 3 years and 8 months ago, and in that time I've learned that there are worse things than losing your senses. You can lose your dignity, your autonomy, your daughter's love. The rehabilitation hospital kept me for 4 months. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy that was really just teaching me to accept I'd never speak again. They taught me sign language. I learned to fingerspell, to gesture, and to communicate through a tablet where I could type and it would speak for me. Maya visited 3 times a week in the beginning. She'd bring flowers, magazines, would sit beside my bed and write me updates about her life, her job at the marketing firm, Derek's promotion. Their plan is to start trying for a baby. I'd type responses on the tablet. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. Your father would be so proud." But I could see it in her eyes, the burden I'd become, the way she'd glance at her watch after 20 minutes, the way Derek would wait in the hall, never coming in, as if disability might be contagious. When the rehab doctor said I could go home, my home, the house Raj and I had bought 30 years ago, Maya came with a different plan. She typed it out on my tablet during one of her visits. "Mom, I've been thinking, the house is too big for you now. Too many stairs, too many memories. What if we found you somewhere with help, somewhere with people who understand your needs?" I shook my head violently, pointed to myself, then made the sign for home. She kept typing. I have a job, Mom. Derek and I are trying to start a family. We can't be there 24/7 to help you. What if you fall? What if there's an emergency and you can't call for help? I'm trying to keep you safe. Safe. That word tasted like betrayal, even though I couldn't speak it. I typed, I want to go home. Please. I need to be at our house, near Raja's things. Please, Maya. She cried, promised we'd figure it out, said maybe we could hire a carer, someone to live with me and help me navigate this new existence. I believed her. God help me. I believed my daughter wouldn't abandon me.
Maya moved me home in June, back to the house where Raj and I had raised her, where we'd celebrated every birthday and holiday, where the walls still smelled like his cologne, and his books still lined the shelves, and his coffee mug still sat in the cupboard exactly where he'd left it. She hired Maria, a carer from an agency. Maria was kind, patient. She learned some sign language, helped me with daily tasks, and cooked meals I could barely taste, because grief has a way of stealing more than sound. Maya visited once a week, Sundays. She'd arrive at 2, stay until 4, and would update me about her life with Derek. They'd bought a new car. They were renovating their bathroom. They were still trying for a baby. No luck yet, but the doctor said everything looked fine. I'd type responses, ask questions, try to be the mother she needed, even though I was trapped in this silent prison where I couldn't hear her laugh, couldn't hear her voice, and couldn't tell her I loved her in the voice she'd grown up hearing. The isolation was suffocating. I couldn't talk to neighbors, couldn't answer the phone, not that it mattered since I couldn't hear it ring, couldn't go to the grocery store alone because what if someone spoke to me and I couldn't respond? Maria tried to encourage me to go out, to join support groups for people with communication disorders, but I wasn't ready to accept that this was my life now. Raj's absence was a constant ache. I'd wake up reaching for him, would set the table for 2 before remembering, would see his favorite chair and expect him to be sitting there, reading the paper, looking up to smile at me. The house felt haunted by happiness. Maria stayed 11 months. Then one Sunday, Maya arrived with her typed announcement. Maria's moving back to El Salvador. Family emergency. I'm trying to find a replacement, but Mom, the agency says they're short-staffed. It might take a few weeks. A few weeks turned into 6. Maya came more frequently during that time. She had to, since I couldn't be alone. She'd stay overnight sometimes, sleeping in her childhood bedroom, helping me with morning routines. I could see the resentment building, the way she'd sigh when I needed help, the way she'd text Derek constantly, her face tight with frustration. One night, I found her crying in the kitchen. She didn't know I was there. I moved silently now, my footsteps soundless in my own ears. She was on the phone, and I could read her lips in the reflection of the dark window. I can't keep doing this, Derek. I have a life. We have a life. I'm 34 years old, and I'm playing nurse to my mother instead of starring our family. It's not fair. It's not fair that Dad died and she survived, and now I'm stuck with this. Stuck. That's the word I saw on her lips. Stuck with this. Stuck with me. I backed away before she could see me, went to my room, lying in the dark, and wished the accident had taken me instead of Raj. At least then Maya would be free.
2 weeks later, Maya brought brochures. Sunny Valley Rehabilitation and Care Facility, Golden Years Senior Living, Meadowbrook Assisted Care. Each one glossy, full of smiling elderly people playing cards, doing crafts, looking thrilled to be warehoused away from their families. She spread them across the kitchen table, typed on my tablet. Mom, I think it's time we seriously consider this. These places are designed for people who need help. They have medical staff 24/7, activities, other residents who might understand what you're going through. You'd have community. I pushed the brochures away. Signed, no. She typed, you can't stay here alone. I can't find another caregiver. I have to get back to my own life, Mom. Derek and I need to focus on trying for a baby. The doctor wants us to reduce stress, and I can't do that when I'm worried about you falling or choking or having a medical emergency with no one here to help. I typed, you want to lock me away so you can forget about me. Her face went pale. That's not fair. I'm trying to do what's best for you. Best for you, I corrected. You mean best for you. She stood up abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor, a sound I couldn't hear but could feel through the vibrations. She grabbed her purse and her peas, typed one final message. I'm trying to help you. Why can't you see that? She left, didn't come back for 2 weeks. I lasted 4 days alone in that house before I fell. Stupid, really. I was reaching for a bowl on the top shelf. Raj always kept the cereal bowls up there, and I'd never changed it, because changing anything felt like erasing him. I stood on a chair, lost my balance, fell hard, my hip hitting the tile floor with an impact I felt but couldn't hear. I lay there for 3 hours before Maya's scheduled check-in call. When I couldn't answer, she panicked and drove over, found me on the kitchen floor, crying silently, my hip already purpling with bruises. The ER doctor said nothing was broken, but I was lucky. Maya sat in the hospital room, her face drawn and exhausted. She typed, "This is exactly what I was afraid of. What if you'd hit your head? What if you'd bled internally? You could have died, Mom, and I would have found you days later when I finally came to check." She was right. I hated that she was right. "Please," she typed, "please just look at these places. Just tour one. If you hate it, we'll figure something else out. But you can't keep living alone. I can't keep wondering if you're okay. I can't keep sacrificing my marriage, my chance at having children, because you're too stubborn to accept help." Too stubborn. As if wanting to stay in my home, near my memories, near the last place I'd been happy, was a character flaw. But I was tired. So tired of fighting, of being a burden, of seeing the resentment in my daughter's eyes. I nodded. She cried, hugged me carefully, avoiding my injured hip, typed, "Thank you. You'll see. It's going to be better this way."
Sunny Valley Rehabilitation and Care Facility was exactly as depressing as I'd imagined. Sterile hallways that smelled like antiseptic and defeat. Common rooms where elderly people sat in wheelchairs, some sleeping, some staring at a television I couldn't hear. Nurses who spoke too loudly, as if volume could penetrate my broken ears, and smiled with professional pity. Maya loved it, or pretended to. She typed enthusiastic observations. "Look, Mom, they have art classes, and there's a garden you can sit in. The staff is so friendly. Did you see how modern the rooms are?" The rooms were prison cells, 10 by 12 feet. A bed, a dresser, a small bathroom, a window overlooking the parking lot. This was what my life had been reduced to. But Maya was glowing, already planning, already mentally checking me off her list of responsibilities so she could get back to the important work of living her own life. The director, Mrs. Chen, communicated through written notes since I couldn't hear or speak. She assured Maya that they were equipped to handle residents with communication disorders. They had staff trained in sign language. They could provide me with a tablet for typing. They'd keep me safe. Safe, always safe, as if safety was worth more than freedom. "We can move you in next month," Maya typed on the drive home. "That gives us time to sort through the house, figure out what you want to bring, and get everything arranged." I didn't respond, just stared out the window at the world I was about to lose access to. The trees Raj had planted, the neighbors' houses we'd watched being built, the streets where we'd taken evening walks, his hand in mine, our steps synchronized after 32 years of marriage. That night, I wrote a letter, typed it on my tablet, printed it, left it on Maya's childhood dresser where she'd sleep that night. "Maya, I understand this is hard for you. I understand I've become a burden you didn't ask for. But please understand what you're asking of me. You're asking me to leave the only place where I still feel close to your father. You're asking me to trade my home for a room I'll share with strangers. You're asking me to give up the last piece of autonomy I have left. I know I can't speak. I know I can't hear. But I can still think. I can still feel. And I feel like I'm being erased. Like I'm already dead, and we're just waiting for my body to catch up. Please, don't do this. Find another way. I'll try harder. I'll be less difficult. Just don't put me away like something broken that you're ashamed of. I love you. I'm sorry I survived and Dad didn't. I'm sorry I'm not easy to care for. I'm sorry for existing. Mom."
The next morning, I found the letter in the trash.
Maya moved me into Sunny Valley on October 15th. I know because I marked it on the calendar I'd kept since Raj died. Marked all the important dates, his birthday, our anniversary, the day of the accident. Now I could add the day my daughter gave up on me. She packed my things carefully, too carefully, like she was packing away a life she wanted to forget. My clothes, my photos, the quilt Raj's mother had made for our wedding, his watch, which I wore every day even though I couldn't hear it tick, a few books I'd never be able to discuss with anyone. "You can bring more later," she typed, "once you're settled." But we both knew I wouldn't. This was it. This was all I'd have of the life I'd built. The room at Sunny Valley was exactly as I remembered from the tour. Sterile, small. The bed was already made with industrial sheets that smelled like bleach. A roommate named Dorothy, who stared at me with vacant eyes when Maya introduced us. Dorothy had advanced dementia and spent most of her time talking to people who weren't there. At least she wouldn't expect me to respond. Maya stayed for 3 hours, helped me unpack, hung my photos on the wall, me and Raj on our wedding day, Maya as a baby, and family vacations to the lake. She arranged everything just so, like making the room pretty would make it feel less like a cage. Before she left, she typed, "I'll visit every Sunday, I promise. And you can call me anytime, just use the tablet to video call. The staff will help you." I typed back, "What about the house?" Her fingers hesitated over the tablet, then, "We'll figure that out. Don't worry about it now, just focus on adjusting here." She hugged me, kissed my cheek, walked out of the room without looking back. I didn't see her again for 6 weeks. The first Sunday, she texted, "Sorry, Mom, Derek's family is in town. Next week for sure." The second Sunday, "Crazy week at work. Boss has me on a big project. I'll come as soon as things calm down." The third Sunday, no message at all. By the fourth Sunday, I'd stopped expecting her. The staff was kind, but overworked. They'd check on me, make sure I'd eaten, and help me with medication, but no one had time for actual conversation, not that I could have one anyway. My tablet collected dust. What was the point of typing messages to myself? The other residents avoided me. Disability makes people uncomfortable. They didn't know how to interact with someone who couldn't hear their hellos and couldn't respond to their questions. I became invisible, a ghost haunting the hallways of Sunny Valley. At night, I'd lie in bed listening to nothing while Dorothy snored or talked in her sleep to her long-dead husband. I'd think about Raj, about our house, about Maya as a little girl, how she'd climb into bed between us during thunderstorms, and how Raj would sing to her until she fell asleep. Where was that little girl now? When had she become someone who could throw away her mother like expired milk? Thanksgiving came and went. No visit, just a text. "Hope you had a nice day. The facility's dinner looked good in the photos they posted." She was following the facility's Facebook page, but couldn't be bothered to visit. Christmas was worse. I watched families arrive throughout December, adult children bringing grandchildren, spouses bringing flowers and gifts. The common room filled with laughter I couldn't hear, with love I couldn't touch. Maya sent a card. Tucked inside was a photo of her and Derek in front of a Christmas tree. On the back, she'd written, "Merry Christmas, Mom. We'll try to visit in the new year. Things are just so hectic right now." Too hectic for an hour? Too hectic to see her mother's face? Too hectic to care whether I was alive or dead. I threw the card in the trash, the same place she'd thrown my letter. In February, I got a letter from a real estate attorney. The staff brought it to me during breakfast, scrambled eggs that tasted like cardboard and toast that tasted like nothing. The envelope was official and formal. Inside was a document I had to read 3 times before I understood what it meant. Notice of property sale. My house, Raj's house, our house, had been sold. The closing date was February 28th. The proceeds, after paying off the remaining mortgage and closing costs, totaled $487,000. These funds had been transferred to Maya Malhotra Chen as my designated power of attorney. Power of attorney. I didn't remember signing that. But then I remembered the hospital, those first infused months after the accident. Maya brought me papers explaining something I couldn't hear, guiding my hand to sign documents I couldn't read because my brain was still scrambled and I couldn't focus. And I'd trusted her. I'd trusted my daughter to take care of me, and she'd taken everything. I found the social worker, Miss Rodriguez, showed her the letter, typed on my tablet. My daughter sold my house without telling me. Can she do that? Miss Rodriguez's face fell as she read the document. She typed back, "If you signed power of attorney, yes, she has legal authority to manage your finances and property. I'm so sorry, Rita. This happens more often than you'd think. Can I fight it? You'd need a lawyer, and you'd need to prove you didn't understand what you were signing or that Maya is acting against your best interests. That's very difficult to prove, especially if she's using the money to pay for your care here. Is she?" Miss Rodriguez checked my file. Typed, "Your daughter paid for your first 6 months. Since then, you've been on Medicaid. The state is covering your costs." So Maya had paid $12,000, the bare minimum to get me settled, then walked away, and now she had nearly $500,000, money that should have been mine, money Raj and I had built together through decades of work and sacrifice, money Maya had stolen while I sat in silence, unable to scream. I typed, "I want to call her. Video call. Now." Miss Rodriguez helped me set it up. We called Maya's number. It rang and rang and rang. Then it went to voicemail. I tried texting, "Maya, I got the letter about the house. We need to talk." No response. I tried the next day, and the next, and the next. She'd blocked me. My daughter had taken my house, my money, and my life, and then blocked me so she wouldn't have to face what she'd done.
I became obsessed. Every day, I'd ask the staff to help me try to reach Maya. Every day, nothing. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Her email bounced back. She'd erased me as thoroughly as if I died in that accident with Raj. Then, one day in March, another resident's daughter recognized Maya's name. Her name was Patricia, and she was visiting her mother, who had advanced Parkinson's. She saw me trying to video call Maya, saw the name on my screen, and typed on my tablet, "Maya Chen, marketing exec, dark hair, about this tall?" I nodded frantically. Patricia's face darkened. "She's my coworker." Well, it was. She quit last month. She and her husband bought some fancy house in Riverside Estates. Everyone at work was gossiping about it. Apparently they paid cash, $600,000. $600,000. My house sold for $487,000. Maya had taken that money, my money, Raj's money, and bought herself a dream home. While I rotted in a nursing facility on state assistance, my daughter was living in luxury purchased with my life. Patricia saw my face and understood. "Oh God, that was your house, wasn't it? The money came from you." I nodded, couldn't type, couldn't think, could only feel this black rage rising up, choking me, drowning me. Patricia typed, "I'm so sorry. That's elder abuse, financial exploitation. You should report this. She can't just take your assets and abandon you." But who would I report it to? Who would listen to a deaf, mute woman with no voice and no power? Maya had the legal paperwork. She'd been careful, smart. She'd waited until I was vulnerable, confused, and broken, and she'd taken everything. Patricia gave me her number, said if I needed help, a witness, someone to testify to what Maya had done, she'd help me. But we both knew it was probably hopeless. I thanked her, went back to my room, looked at Dorothy, who was singing to herself, lost in whatever reality dementia had created for her. I envied her. At least she didn't remember being betrayed. That night, I wrote another letter. Not to Maya. What was the point? She'd made it clear she didn't want to hear from me. Instead, I wrote to the void, to Raj, wherever he was. I should have died with you. I should have been the one the truck hit directly. You would have survived. You always survived everything. And you would have taken care of Maya, would have made sure she turned out better than this. I failed her, Raj, or she failed me. Maybe both. Maybe I was too much of a burden. Maybe I should have been stronger, should have managed better, and should have been the kind of disabled person who's inspiring instead of inconvenient. But I miss you. God, I miss you. I miss your voice. I miss being able to hear I love you. I miss feeling like I mattered to someone. I'm so tired. I'm 60 years old and I'm just waiting to die. And the worst part is, when I do die, Maya will probably be relieved. One less obligation, one less reminder of the parents she wanted to forget. Come get me soon, love. Please. I can't do this much longer. I folded the letter, put it under my pillow, closed my eyes, and prayed for Raj to come for me in my sleep. I woke up the next morning, still alive, still trapped, still alone.
My 61st birthday arrived in June. 1 year since Maya moved me here. 1 year since I'd last felt like a person instead of a problem to be solved. The staff brought me a cupcake at lunch, sang happy birthday. I could see their mouths moving and see the other residents watching, but lived in that horrible silence where celebration happens around you but never reaches you. I smiled, nodded, blew out the candle, made a wish I knew wouldn't come true. No card from Maya, no call, no text, nothing. She'd forgotten, or chosen to forget. Either way, the message was clear. I no longer mattered. That afternoon, I asked Miss Rodriguez to help me look up Maya's new address. Public records. The house was registered under Derek and Maya Chen, 4287 Riverside Drive. A sprawling craftsman with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a pool. I looked at photos online. It was beautiful. The kind of house Raj and I used to dream about but could never afford. The kind of house we'd sacrificed for so much so Maya could have a good education, a stable childhood, and a future. And now she lived there, in a house built on my stolen life. I typed to Miss Rodriguez, "Can you take me there? I just want to see it, just once." She should have said no. It was against facility policy to take residents on personal errands. But Miss Rodriguez had seen too many abandoned elderly people, had seen too much cruelty disguised as difficult decisions. "I'm off shift in an hour," she typed. "Meet me at the front entrance." We drove to Riverside Estates in her old Honda. She didn't ask questions, just pulled up across the street from 4287 and let me stare. The house was even more beautiful in person. Manicured lawn, flowers in the beds, roses, the kind Raj used to grow for me. 2 cars in the driveway, a new Tesla and a BMW. And there, visible through the front window, was Maya, my daughter, my baby girl, standing in her kitchen, my kitchen, paid for with my money, laughing at something. She looked happy, healthy, glowing, actually. Then I saw why. Her hand rested on her stomach, the unmistakable curve of pregnancy. She was having a baby, the baby she'd been trying for. The baby was more important than caring for her mother, the baby she'd get to keep while she'd throw me away. I watched her for 20 minutes, watched her move through that beautiful house, living her perfect life, completely unburdened by the mother she'd abandoned. She never looked out the window, never sensed me there, a ghost of her past she'd successfully erased. "Ready to go?" Miss Rodriguez signed. I nodded. What else was there to see? I'd gotten my answer. Maya was fine, better than fine, thriving, and I was exactly where she wanted me. Out of sight, out of mind, slowly dying in a place where I couldn't inconvenience her anymore. I stopped eating after that. Not dramatically. I didn't refuse food or make a scene. I just stopped being hungry, stopped caring whether my body continued or not. The staff noticed. Ms. Rodriguez noticed. They tried supplements, tried different foods, and tried everything. But you can't force someone to want to live. By July, I'd lost 18 pounds.
My clothes hung off me. My face looked skeletal in the mirror. Good. Maybe if I disappeared enough, Maya would finally have to acknowledge what she'd done. Ms. Rodriguez broke protocol in August. She contacted Maya directly, bypassing my blocked number, and sent an email to Maya's work address, the one Patricia had given me. Subject: Your mother's health. Ms. 10, I'm writing to inform you that your mother, Reeta Malhotra, is in declining health. She's lost significant weight, shows signs of depression, and is not responding to intervention. As her next of kin, we need you to be aware of her condition and to visit as soon as possible to discuss care options. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Gloria Rodriguez, MSW. Maya responded 3 days later. Ms. Rodriguez, thank you for the update. I'm currently 8 months pregnant and on modified bed rest due to complications. I'm unable to travel or visit at this time. Please keep me updated on any significant changes to my mother's condition. I trust the facility to provide appropriate care. Best regards, Maya Chen. 8 months pregnant, modified bed rest. She couldn't spare an hour to see whether her mother lived or died, but she could find time to buy a house and prepare a nursery and plan for the child who'd replace me in her heart. Ms. Rodriguez showed me the email, watched my face as I read it, typed, I'm sorry. I tried. I typed back, can you take me to her house again, one more time? Rita, I don't think... Please, I need to see her, face to face. I need her to look at what she's done. Ms. Rodriguez knew it was a bad idea, knew it would violate protocols, and might cost her her job. But she also knew what it meant to watch someone give up on living. Tomorrow, she typed, after my shift. We arrived at 4287 Riverside Drive at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. The Tesla was in the driveway. Maya was home. Ms. Rodriguez helped me out of the car. I was so weak now, I needed support to walk. Together, we made our way up the stone path, paid for with my money, to the front door, paid for with Raj's life insurance. I rang the doorbell. Couldn't hear if it chimed, but I felt the button press. Waited. The door opened. Maya stood there, hugely pregnant, wearing yoga pants and an oversized shirt. Her face went through a series of expressions in rapid succession: confusion, recognition, shock, horror, and anger. Her mouth moved. I couldn't hear what she said, but I could read her lips. What are you doing here? I held up my tablet, typed, I came to see my daughter and my grandson. How did you even... She looked past me and saw Ms. Rodriguez. Her face hardened. You brought her here? Do you know how inappropriate this is? Ms. Rodriguez signed something I couldn't see. Maya shook her head violently. I pushed past her into the house. My house. The house she'd bought with my stolen money. It was beautiful inside. Hardwood floors, high ceilings, an open-concept kitchen with marble countertops, furniture that looked expensive and new. Photos on the walls, Maya and Derek on vacation, Maya and Derek at their wedding, and Maya and Derek in front of this house. No photos of me, no photos of Raj. We'd been erased from her history. I typed on my tablet and held it up so she had to read it. I gave you life. I gave you everything. Your father and I sacrificed so you could have opportunities, and this is how you repay us? By stealing from me when I'm at my most vulnerable? By abandoning me? I didn't abandon you. You're in a facility with professional care. I'm in a warehouse for people whose families don't want them. You haven't visited in a year. You blocked my number. You forgot my birthday. Maya's hands were shaking as she typed. Because every time I see you, I feel guilty. Because I can't save you, Mom. I can't fix your hearing or your voice. I can't bring Dad back. And I can't sacrifice my entire life trying to make you feel less alone. I have to live too. There it was, the truth, raw and ugly. She had to live, and I was dead weight preventing that. I looked at her, really looked at her, at the daughter I'd raised with love and patience, at the woman who'd become a stranger, at the mother-to-be who'd learned from me exactly what not to be. I typed one final message. When your child grows up, I hope they treat you better than you treated me, but I suspect they'll learn from your example. Good luck with that. I turned and walked out. Ms. Rodriguez followed. Neither of us looked back. As we drove away, I saw Maya standing in her doorway, hand on her pregnant belly, watching us leave. Was she crying? I couldn't tell. Didn't care. I'd said what I needed to say. She'd heard what she needed to hear. Nothing had changed, nothing would change. But at least I'd looked her in the eye and let her see what her choices had created.
Maya had her baby in September, a boy. She named him Rajesh, after my husband, after the father she'd helped me erase from my life. I know because Patricia told me. She'd seen the birth announcement and the photos Maya had posted. "He's beautiful," Patricia typed. "Looks just like her." I didn't want to see the photos. Didn't want to know what my grandson looked like. He'd grow up never knowing me, never knowing the grandmother who'd been thrown away before he was born. Maybe that was for the best. At least he wouldn't learn to discard people when they became inconvenient. I'm 61 now. It's been a year since that confrontation. Maya never contacted me after, never apologized, never explained. Just went on with her life as if I died in that accident with Raj. Sometimes I think I died. The Reeta who existed before, the woman who could speak, who could hear, who trusted her daughter, that woman is gone. What's left is just a shell, a silent witness to her own erasure. The staff here is kind. Ms. Rodriguez still checks on me, though she got written up for taking me to Maya's house. Patricia visits her mother every week and stops by to say hello, to type messages I rarely respond to. Dorothy died last month. They gave me a new roommate, another woman with Alzheimer's who thinks I'm her sister. I let her believe it. Why not? Reality is overrated anyway. I spend my days sitting in the garden when the weather's nice, watching other residents receive visitors I'll never have. I think about Raj constantly, about the life we built, about the daughter we loved, about where we went wrong in raising her, or if we did anything wrong at all. Maybe some people are just born knowing how to love conditionally. At night, I write letters to Raj in my journal, tell him about the silence, about the loneliness, about the particular cruelty of being abandoned by your own child. I like to imagine he reads them somehow, that wherever he is, he knows I'm still here, still waiting for him to come get me. The doctors say I'm healthy, could live another 20 years. 20 years of silence, 20 years of abandonment, 20 years of waiting to die while watching other people's families care about them. I don't think I last that long. You can't live on nothing, and that's what I have now. Nothing. No family, no home, no voice, no hope. Just memories of a life that ended in a car accident 4 years ago, even though my body forgot to stop breathing. Sometimes I wonder if Maya ever thinks about me, if she feels guilty when she looks at her son, if she wonders what kind of grandmother I would have been if she'd given me the chance. But mostly I think she's relieved. Relieved she doesn't have to deal with the burden of me anymore. Relieved she can pretend she's a good person who made hard choices instead of a daughter who chose comfort over compassion. And me? I sit here in my silent prison, invisible to the world, forgotten by the one person who was supposed to remember me always. This is what it means to be abandoned, not just physically left behind, but erased from someone's story, made irrelevant, transformed from mother to problem solved. I gave birth to Maya, raised her, loved her unconditionally. She gave me away, stole from me, and moved on without looking back.
If you're reading this somehow, if my story reaches beyond these walls, remember this: check on your elderly relatives, visit them. Don't let them disappear into facilities and vanish from your life, because someday you'll be old, you'll be vulnerable, you'll need someone to care, and your children will remember the example you set. I learned in that nursing home that silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the absence of being heard. That abandonment isn't just physical distance, it's the distance of someone choosing to forget you exist. Some daughters love their mothers, some daughters love their freedom more, and some of us die long before our hearts stop beating, erased by the very people we gave life to. The cruelest prison isn't walls, it's being alive in a world where no one remembers your voice.